What's up, gamers? He's Meo.
And he's Kido.
And we're here to talk about why...
Hey, what's with that intro?
I don't know. I was feeling quirky this evening. What time is it?
It's 11 o'clock at night.
That explains everything. We're here to talk about why Black Adam fails as a superhero movie.
And in some ways, in a movie in general.
But these are just our thoughts. If you are for some reason triggered by these thoughts,
seek help.
Wow. I was gonna say, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. You to yours and me to mine. But Meo went there. So, let's talk about it.
First of all, some stuff we actually liked in this movie, or at least stuff that wasn't terrible.
The JSA is actually pretty decent in this movie. I thought they were like kind of just randomly introduced in the DCEU, but I thought they were kind of cool.
Oh yeah, my favorites were Dr. Fate and Hawkman.
I'd say the other two were definitely the weaker ones, obviously. I think it's because the direction overall was not very good for this film, and they just kind of got sidelined and got like weird throwaway lines with like their character development and stuff like that, but I don't think they should have bothered. But Hawkman and Dr. Fate were pretty cool.
Would have been nice to see a bit more of them even. Some action sequences are kind of interesting.
Some of the slow-mo things, a lot of the slow-mo was very necessary, but I think some of the slow-mo worked to its benefit and made some creative scenes. Nothing too crazy like we haven't seen before, but creative enough.
And oddly enough, this movie was not worse than She-Hulk.
Yeah, which isn't really saying anything.
Oh yeah, and the score was annoying. Oh, wait, sorry. We're talking about good things.
Meo's just being savage on this movie. Wasn't there something else? It's not really woke, but I don't know if I should congratulate it on that, because it's kind of like telling your dog that you're happy that it didn't vomit this morning. It's like, it shouldn't have done that anyway, so...
If it's woke, there's something wrong with it. So there's no congratulations for not being woke, but good for you.
Up yours, woke moralists. We'll see who cancels who.
Yeah, I mean, at least it wasn't the worst part of the film, so like, yeah, no woke. And Dwayne Johnson stuck up for the fans. He said, frick off, critics, I care about the fans. And well, sure, fine. I mean, that's fine by me.
Yeah, I support the fans of my own movie.
But overall, that doesn't really change my feelings about the movie. But I appreciate the fact that he...
Considering what they've been doing with fan bases these days. But moving on.
On to the general point of this video, why Black Adam doesn't really work.
It tries to not be your average superhero movie, but ends up being your average superhero movie with very few changes.
Yeah, if you kind of break it down, most of the plot points follow what a normal superhero movie would basically follow.
Pretty much. And then all of the elements that it uses from the typical superhero movie just don't work.
Yeah, it's like it's different in a way, but at the same time, it's kind of like Deadpool, just follows the same beats of any other superhero movie, really, if you just boil it down.
Pretty much, yeah.
It doesn't really try anything too new as far as anti-heroes go.
On to the first point of why it doesn't work.
Characters. First off, there's Adam. Black Adam, main character. He's very one note.
For a main character and protagonist of the movie, he doesn't really connect with the audience. At least he doesn't connect with me. I find it difficult to relate or associate with him. He just seems like he's literally made out of rock, just floating there with lightning all around.
Oh, made out of rock, nice. I feel like they're going to use the other human characters to kind of bridge the gap between the audience and Black Adam, but in the end it didn't really work, and him being very one note and not changing throughout the film or developing throughout the film really just kind of doesn't really work, because you kind of expect to see some kind of character development, but all his character is basically just violence.
And we have the mom character, I forget her name.
I do too, but she's kind of switches.
First, she seems to be sort of the moral compass of the movie.
The level-headed one?
The level-headed one to try to say, no, you can't do this, or she's trying to protect her son and all that. But then partway through the movie, she flips once her son's in danger and decides that it's okay to literally kill everyone and it doesn't matter.
Yes, and starts criticizing the JSA for trying to attempt to help. So it just seemed like she kind of switched directions, and I don't think it really made any sense as to why. There's a brother, but he doesn't do anything, so nobody were used to talking about him.
It doesn't matter!
And of course, as the JSA, as we said earlier, they work okay.
Now here's one thing I will say about the JSA. The direction that they could have gone in the film of him being like kind of the anti-hero kind of bad guy person, and then the JSA being like more morally good kind of people, kind of work kind of like Deadpool, and then there's Colossus. It like balance out a little bit and eventually kind of come to a kind of agreement, like, I'm a bad person who does good things in a kind of bad way. I think it would have eventually kind of worked itself out, but as it was, it didn't really get there. I see what they were trying to do though.
Yeah, it made it like halfway there and then didn't quite reach the resolution. Maybe that's for Black Adam too. Another element of many superhero movies is what we're going to call here the pure soul.
When a character is either so disconnected from humans or so evil it's almost irredeemable but has to be the good guy anyway, there's going to be kind of a bridge, which is usually the pure soul, which is kind of guides them into the light of humanity. All that is good about humans is in this one particular character.
Right. It can oftentimes be like a grandmother or a grandpa type character.
An aunt.
To be specific. Or a kid.
Iron Giant.
But it's not in this movie.
No. Instead, the kid in this movie, whose name I also forget, is just straight up, he is insane. He is just crazy.
He is homicidal beyond reason.
He's also the worst character in the entire movie.
Yeah, I really hate him.
I mean, listen, the actor for Little Annie got a bunch of hate and everything. I think that was unjust because, I mean, the director, this kid is also really bad, but he's older than Little Annie. I think he should get less of a pass, but still, it's mainly the director should have told him to just do better.
I'm not saying go harass him or anything, but maybe reconsider casting him in literally anything else.
Yeah, just at least just give him some better direction.
Yeah, if he's in Black Adam too, come on, give him a...
Anything would be better, but he was a terrible character because he's homicidal, and you know, instead of like guiding Black Adam, like you have to go like save our people and like be a superhero, he's gonna go guide him and say like save our people because we need rescuing. So like kill the invaders, we've been enslaved and you need to kill every single one of them.
Kill the transgressors. But anyway, yeah, but at the same time, his character also idolized superheroes like the Justice League and Batman. How does anyone know what Batman looks like? What?
Kind of weird commercialization going on there, but he has Superman stuff like that there. Like there's a whole kind of symbolism thing of like Black Adam like trashing the room and like his poster get torn up and stuff like that. But it's just kind of confusing because he idolizes these people who do good things, but then he wants Black Adam to come in and then kill a bunch of people to go save his
culture.
His culture, I don't know, call that capital, I don't know. So it really does not play out very well. Him being so homicidal, like he should be, there needs to be someone in this movie who stands for what is good. And the only people who that is the JSA, but the JSA is treated like bad guys and they never really get proven right or wrong. Anyway, the kid doesn't work in this movie and he sucks.
Correct. And then we have, as we kind of alluded to earlier, Kadok?
I think it's Kadok.
Kadok. This country's...
Someone will correct us in the comments.
This country's oppression or invasion and occupation, it is extremely poorly explained. And as this is the driving force for the motivation for a lot of the main characters, it doesn't make any sense.
Indeed. It seemed like they were kind of, the people themselves were enslaved by themselves, I believe, right?
Yeah, a group of people from within their people rose up and took control of the people. And then from then on...
After Black Adam, like, destroyed a bunch of the place.
Then they apparently have been passed on like a disease between rulers, different people oppressing their people and taking their culture, whatever the kid said. And the latest one is a group of mercenaries.
And I don't understand how they got there. I don't even understand how they have flying bikes. But the commentary is like, oh, they're appropriating our culture and all the kind of stuff. But all that I see is them just having like some little checkpoints and stuff like that. There's no other actual like abuse and stuff like that until like maybe they go into like the kind of mountain thing. Those people aren't like the actual mercenaries presumably, but I don't understand. The commentary just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, and then apparently they're mining for the Eternium or something. I don't know. It doesn't explain it and it doesn't show. It does not show. It just tells. And seeing how that's such a core part of the movie and drives all these people to say kill all these invaders like they're horrible people. It doesn't work. I don't know what they're fighting.
Indeed. Usually in these kind of kill movies, there's like some kind of justification as to why we're killing all these bad people, like in John Wick, which is probably not the best example, but they killed a dog and it's like, oh, kill them all, and everyone's like, okay, fine, I guess that's understandable. But in this case, I don't really know what the so-called bad guys have been doing.
In this case, it's like, oh no, they pushed a kid off a skateboard, time to rip their skulls out of their bodies.
I know, it seems a little excessive.
And that leads us to the moral of the story. All superheroes, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, they all have some kind of moral in their story, some kind of guiding principle. Black Adam does not have.
Black Adam is probably the most borked up morally film. Black Adam is the most morally borked up movie I have seen in quite some time because it is all over the place. Main character kills people. Mom also switches gears and says Black Adam should kill people because the JSA isn't good enough. Boy says Black Adam go kill people because we're oppressed. The oppressed people say Black Adam kill everyone. The people who are being killed don't kill anyone. They kill less people than Black Adam kills anyone.
That's a good point. What is the kill count of the villains? I'm trying to think here. I don't think they killed any. I think they killed like one guy.
Yeah, and those is very confusing in the very beginning of the movie, whether those were like part of the same mercenary group. I guess we're just supposed to assume that. But assuming of course it is, then they killed, I think, one guy.
And Black Adam kills all of them. And then, as we said earlier, they try to say the JSA isn't doing enough because they're there to keep like global stability or something like that. And they're not interfering. They're not coming being there to save Kedok or whatever it's called. But again, we don't see anybody being killed or anybody being oppressed in the town, so it's really hard to tell why the JSA would even get involved in the first place, and why they're back. We don't even get to see what the JSA does outside of this to know whether they're too busy doing more important things.
Yeah, we have to go change this movie title or this review title to being Why Black Adam is Morally Bankrupt. Like, who is the good guy? Like, he's like, I guess he's not oppressing the people. That's the main thing that makes him good, I guess.
Is that he frees the people from their oppressors and doesn't oppress them? But he also just kills a bunch of people.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's the Christian prude in me, but I find it very hard to root for a character that just kills people.
And there isn't even character development or anything. It's not like he starts off killing people, but then learns it's not good to kill everybody, or like only kill those who are necessary, or anything like that. It's just he kills people in the beginning of the movie, and in the movie he kills some more people. That's it.
Yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know, it's a little hard to sit through for me personally. I mean, I don't know. I'm more of a Superman guy. I'm more of the kind of do. He saves cats from trees. He captures bank robbers. He doesn't like crack their skulls and throw them through buildings at 1,000,000 miles per hour just to see them crumble in the sun.
Which brings us to another point. We have Black Adam's superpowers.
Do not work.
They're just massively OP. For a character that is so morally gray as Black Adam, well, one might actually say morally black, that he's willing to kill anybody he needs to, or just wants to, really.
And he still has the capability to carry all those things out.
Right, he can just do it whenever he wants.
Indeed, it's like making I don't know, I guess it's like having an evil god, I guess. It's not like Light Yagami, that's a completely different example, but like Light Yagami is like a messed up person. He has the ability to kill people, but he also has not stipulations.
He also has
restrictions, so he can't like just I have to kill this person and because I don't like them. Like he can, but also he's very balanced individual relatively. Whereas Black Adam is completely like, I want to kill everyone and I have the ability to do so.
If anybody would say, oh, look at the Flash, he's so OP, or oh, look at Superman, he's got all the abilities of Black Adam plus some. What you gonna say about that? I say they're superheroes, and they have moral weak points that villains can take advantage of. Like Lex Luthor, for instance, he's not super powerful.
Yeah, that's the entire point of Superman. He is crazy powerful, but either people are on the same power level as him, or alternatively, there are other people who take advantage of him and like use kryptonite or use their big brain or just like manipulate him and stuff like that, because he's very morally good. That's why he works in the comic books.
Yeah, and speaking of kryptonite, Black Adam doesn't even have a weakness like Superman.
I mean, he kind of does with Internium, which is a dumb name for a mineral, but it's very ambiguous as to why and how it hurts him. It never hurts him again, even when Hawkman uses it against him and with his little mace thing. And then there's the whole issue of like it causes a scar, but somehow he heals himself.
That's like the same thing as Superman getting injured by kryptonite and then healing himself with his own heat vision.
I don't think that's how it works. And that's because he can use his heat vision while he's stabbed with a kryptonite. I don't know, but like he can shave his face with his own heat vision, showing that he's impervious to his own heat vision. It's a mess. I don't know.
It's whatever. But yeah, there's also a big bad villain. I forget what his name is. Some demon guy.
Hellboy.
Discount Hellboy comes back from the dead and wants to fight Black Adam.
I think Hellboy was a good guy.
Discount bad guy Hellboy comes back from the dead and decides he wants to fight Black Adam, and he dies. Spoilers!
End of story for him. He is not very prevalent. He's not very present in this movie. So I was a little confused when they just kind of brought him back in, and then like he's continuously like little kind of poking his little head up and like, I'm here in the movie. And then he just disappears and he's back up like, I'm here in the movie. And then he comes back as the big bad who's super strong. But it's not very interesting because we already know that Black Adam will win.
The stakes are already extremely low because we've seen Black Adam just absolutely annihilate all the opponents up until this point. And you think some CGI demon lord is gonna be able to defeat Black Adam? I don't think so.
Got like Alita Battle Angel syndrome where she wins every single fight and like you don't really expect her to ever lose. But one thing that happened in that movie is the fact that they kind of use her connection or like affections or whatever toward one character against her, even though it doesn't really go anywhere. But anyway, they kind of use that against her, and that's kind of like one of her weak points. So Black Adam doesn't really have a weak point. You could argue it's the kid and the mom,
but
not really.
He doesn't really seem to care about them all that much.
No, he doesn't really emote at all, honestly.
Yeah, it'd be impossible for me to tell whether he's happy, sad, mad, glad, or anything regarding this.
But back to the point. The big bad villain just doesn't really work stake-wise. And then all of a sudden, because the movie decided to be an Avengers film, zombies.
A zombie army? It's more like a slowly gathering group of mostly peaceful protesters.
They don't do anything, honestly. I don't think anyone gets even harmed by them.
Yeah, I was so confused when this happened in the movie. I was like, are we still watching the same movie? Because there's two characters, and then they're apparently surrounded by zombies, but then she just tells the kid to go run off away from the zombies, so they could just leave. But she stays to fight the zombies, which she can, with like a pipe or something. She's not even that strong. Then her brother comes up, and rather than driving away, they fight the zombies. And then the whole town gets together and fights the zombies. And then they all just disappear at the end, so it didn't matter.
It's just a weird decision. So throwing in a boss or like army battle in the end doesn't really, I don't know, just seemed very unnecessary.
And again, because they pulled the old Star Wars, Phantom Menace, main base shuts down, all the bad guys go away, the stakes again were extremely low because we knew Black Adam would win. Every good superhero has a good origin.
And this time they decided that they wanted to do it even better by adding a little bit of a twist.
Alright, so there's not just one origin story. There's not just two origin stories. No.
There are 3 origin stories.
All of them given in voiceover.
I hate voiceovers now. I don't know why, but for some reason the last movies I've been seeing, I've just had voiceovers and it makes me so mad.
But we have our first one, which we get the general backstory for Black Adam, about how he gets his powers to fight for the people, to defeat the oppressor, but then the battle, the temple's destroyed and all that. We get that. And then Black Adam appears in the story, and he's a cold killer who doesn't seem to care about anyone or anything. But he's apparently the hero of Kadok, whatever. And then we have our second origin story. That's the one where apparently he is fighting him, and he didn't just destroy the temple in the battle, he actually killed the other guy before he could put on the crown and get his powers.
Oh yeah, and in his anger he unleashed a bunch of power.
Yes, and just destroyed like part of the city. So that's origin story number 2. And after we learn this, Black Adam is a cold, calculating killer who doesn't seem to care much about anything or anyone.
And you're beginning to wonder, how did this guy become the Kadok savior?
And then we get our third origin story, where we find out that Black Adam is in fact not the first Adam Black whatever, but his son was actually the one who was the hero of Kadok, but he gave him his powers to save his life, and then his son was killed, and they got angry, and he killed the king and destroyed part of the temple in the city.
Now, I'm all for plot twists, but the problem with these is that it doesn't change the story at all.
Because at the end of this one, Black Adam is still a cold killer who doesn't seem to care much about anything or anyone.
And he's still regarded as the savior of Kadok. So what changed doing any of those things? It's like, the origin story doesn't affect anything in the actual story itself, really, except for the bad guy, and the bad guy really just affects the bad guy, nothing else. And I don't know, just what was with the twist?
I don't know. Why was there a twist even there?
Also, this stupid scene where it's all like, oh, and my son was the savior of Kadok, and then Hawkman says, so what you're telling me is, basically, I don't know. I don't think we have the footage for that, but I don't know if we ever have the scene.
Basically, something is explicitly stated, and then Hawkman, just because it wasn't clear enough, has to say it again for all the stupid people in the audience. I hate it when they do that.
Same.
So just overall, I think this movie fails as a superhero movie, or an anti-superhero movie, or anything of the sort.
Oh, fails morally? I have no idea. It fails at something.
I don't know. If you're gonna try to make a superhero movie, but make it not be a superhero movie, or like your everyday, let's just say this ain't your grandpa's superhero movie, maybe do something different rather than copying the same structure and then screwing it up.
But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't too big of a fan of this movie, but you know what? Is it as bad as the other Marvel stuff they've been putting out? I have no idea. It's on a similar level, but isn't it kind of weird that this one got a 40%, whereas Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is kind of a garbage film, got like an 80%?
I see some biasy.
Or She-Hulk, I think, got an 80% from the critics.
That's ridiculous.
So I'm sensing some very intense biasy from Rotten Tomatoes, which is something we will cover in another video.
Till then, go and let us know your thoughts about Black Adam, and whether you think our criticisms are warranted.
And if you can't think of anything else to comment down below Adam.
And until the next video.
If you can't think of anything else.
Until the next video, he's Kido.
And he's Meo.
And we hope you have a blessed day.
Bye.
Bye.
Yo, don't do it! Don't do it! Yo! Yo, hold